Hello, everybody, and welcome to the June 26, 2018 edition of the Ephrom Josine Show. I am your host, Ephrom Josine. Unfortunately, I was unable to get a show out on Monday. As such, a show will be released like normal on Friday to make up for that. So look forward to that. But anyway, let's get into the news now. First off, remember Donald Trump's travel ban that, just so happened to be from a good amount of nations that happen to have quite a few Muslims in them? Well, it was recently passed by the Supreme Court, which is odd because I could have sworn it was already struck down about a year and a half ago now. But again, a year and a half later, and coincidentally, the appointment of Neil Gorsuch, and all of a sudden, it's constitutional. So, wait a minute. A president can lose a Supreme Court case, appoint a Supreme Court justice, and then have the case redone and then hope it goes in his favor? I will give him that is not unconstitutional. Still not the best thing to do. Now, to be fair, he has changed the travel ban slightly. This is from Politico. Sorry, it's from Al Jazeera, not Politico. I get them. The current ban, announced in September and widely criticized by human rights and refugee advocacy groups, well, we just got out of the UN program, prohibits entry into the U.S. by most people from Iran, Libya, Somalia, Syria, and Yemen. And surprise, I think we're bombing it. I know we're bombing Libya, Somalia, and Syria, and I think we're bombing Yemen. I don't know for sure, though. I don't think we're bombing Iran, though. It also affects two non-Muslim majority countries, blocking travel from North Korea, which I thought we were allies with them. There was just a story the other day about how UN is removing anti-United States propaganda, travel ban them. That will help relations. And some Venezuela government official. Okay, that's fine. Honestly, my biggest issue with this travel ban is I'm not convinced it goes far enough. For instance, 15 of the 19 9/11 hijackers were from Saudi Arabia. Osama bin Laden was from Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia money back September 11th, one of the biggest terrorist attack on American soil. Where exactly is Saudi Arabia on this list? ISIS stands for Islamic Stationed Iraq and Syria. We have Syria on here. We don't have Iraq. It's things like that that really make it, and we should, for that matter, have strict vetting with all of these countries. We should be very cautious about how many refugees we take in, otherwise we will end up like a country like Sweden or Germany, where essentially it just becomes, I don't want to say becomes the Middle East, but they don't integrate. And to be fair, I do think there are many Muslims who do want to integrate, but I'm not convinced that every single one of them wants to. And for that matter, I feel like the president is kind of being a coward here. I honestly think he wants to add more Muslim majority countries, and he should, honestly. But he doesn't want to because he has this false view that more people will like me if that happens. No. And that's the second time this month, in the month of June 2018, he has done that. The first time was with immigrants. He said, no, I guess we'll keep the family together. Which, say that about any other crime. I dare you. And now he's doing it with the Muslims. And for that matter, this all brings me back to something I once saw. I think it was late 80s, early 90s in that time. One of the most prominent Muslims, I think it was like the leader of Iran, I believe, said that they will pretend to integrate, that you will think they are one of you, and then they will take over. That was a prominent Muslim saying that, so forgive me if I'm a little skeptical. Anyway, our next topic tonight involves Andrew Klavan. If you have never heard of Andrew Klavan, well, I don't blame you. He's one of the guys over at the Daily Wire, and easily probably the blandest one there. However, he recently made a video called Andrew Klavan's Lefty Dictionary. C is for Constitution. There are actually an A and B to these, so I'm not going to do that joke. However, as Felipe Scotanio says, true lefty's dictionary, C is for communism. So, Andrew, you actually missed an opportunity. Now, I'm a leftist, or a lefty, and I actually happen to have a copy right here of the United States Constitution. So I figured I'd be qualified to debunk this video. You see, according to Andrew, the leftists, or left, or whatever you want to call them, hates the Constitution because, to quote him, it enumerates or specifies the powers of the federal government. All other powers not mentioned in the Constitution belong to the individual and their state and local governments. The thing is, no founding father actually believed that. It's one of those things they just sort of say with no evidence. Let me explain. You see, when the Constitution was written, there was a lot of debate on this, and there were a lot of compromises, and basically no one really came out happy. But essentially, this led to political parties over differing interpretations. The first political parties were the Federalists and the Democratic Republicans. The Federalists were ran by John Adams, and the Democratic Republicans were ran by Thomas Jefferson. Adams' side of the party believed that the government could expand as long as it was within the limits of the Bill of Rights. So, for instance, he believed in a federal bank. Jefferson, on the other hand, did not believe that, instead believed that the Constitution is what the government works with, not with what they can work through or work around. Essentially, then Thomas Jefferson kind of violated that when he did the Louisiana Purchase, and it does not say anywhere in the Constitution, by the way, that the government can purchase land. So, you know. And for that matter, Andrew and his buddies at the Daily Wire absolutely love immigration laws, and to be fair, so do I. However, again, this is the United States Constitution right here. I dare Andrew to find me the section where it says the federal government is allowed to create immigration laws. You will never find it because said section does not exist. Andrew then makes fun of the living document point, and in that case, even though you can amend the Constitution, which makes it by definition a living document, and to paraphrase Norm's Respect on Twitter, that part that didn't allow people to own other people wasn't added for like 100 years. Just saying. You see, according to Andrew, the Supreme Court has also taken power away from state and local governments and given it to the federal government. His examples are, the Constitution used to give the federal government absolutely no power to regulate what laws the states made regarding sex or marriage or abortion. I know what cases he's referring to for the record, and that's not what happened. You see, what Andrew is doing is implying that government power is sort of a zero-sum game. If power goes from the state or local government, therefore it has to be transferred to the federal government. But actually what we determined with all three, one of those, yeah, states can still make laws regarding sex and abortion. That's why pedophilia is illegal. Reminder, it is a good thing that pedophilia is illegal. Just making that clear. What we actually determined was that state and local governments also did not have that power. not that the federal government had that power. So this is at best misleading. Anyway, that's really it. I'm Ephrom, and good night.